Welcome to the Onside Podcast, a podcast on innovation-driven entrepreneurship. Join us on this journey as we amplify the power of disruptive ideas. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex McCann, and welcome to the Onside Podcast. This season, we're taking a deeper dive into women's entrepreneurship across Canada and highlighting wonderful women, founders, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are making our startup ecosystem more inclusive and purpose-driven. These fireside chats are being brought to you as part of our Onside Start Now Incubator project, which supports diverse and intersectional women to start and grow their businesses. And we're very excited to have two wonderful people today, Laurissa Manning and Lauren Sears, who are both co-founders of DLM, a dynamic firm helping organizations build purposeful plans and strong connected teams that meet the evolving needs of business and community. Laurissa Manning is a creator, a strategist, and someone who helps build thriving communities and purposeful organizations with over 25 years experience across logistics, health, entrepreneurship, all these wonderful things. Laurissa brings a holistic approach to leadership and growth and is the co-founder of DLM, where she's known for helping teams find balance, clarity, traction, and always is grounded in community, collaboration, and creativity. And then we have the wonderful Lauren Sears, a big picture thinker and a social innovator who turns bold ideas into reality. With a background in psychology, business, and organizational behavior, Lauren has helped to launch more than 45 Atlantic Canada social enterprises and brings deep expertise in team culture and equity-focused strategy. And her approach blends curiosity, imagination, and practicality to help teams evolve and thrive. So thank you for being here and welcome to the Onside Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
And so it begins.
Oh, perfect. It's like a duet. It's like a duet. Oh, awesome. Awesome.
No, we're super excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you here. It's nice. We haven't had a podcast episode with two guests in a while. So this is kind of going back to some things we did in the past. But we'll start things off and kind of jump into it. And, one of the things that I've always been excited about with your work is that you have these really deep personal experiences and challenges. And I'm wondering, what in your past or what helped you to realize that organizations really need help connecting purpose to people? Like, how do you think about that? Who wants to take that on?
I'll start, and Laurissa and I tend to exactly.
Yeah. We're gonna just riff with it.
Yeah. I've sort of been a team kind of person for long time, and a lot of my team experience comes through sports. Surprise,
love it.
Positively and with more challenges, but I think I have been quite privileged in that I had a lot more positive experiences than negative. But everything I learned on the court, I played volleyball, I've seen in businesses, I've seen in organizations, and some of what I saw, I just felt I could help implement and help mold a team to be a bit healthier functioning.
Similar background, not volleyball. However, with coaching individuals and working with different teams. And for me, it's always been about building community. But with that community, having a direction, like where are we going? What are we trying to achieve with that? And I think just from some of the different experiences that we've had work-wise and, organizations that we belong to, some of the reasons why we're no longer at those organizations is because we felt that the direction or the purpose wasn't clear, even though they were great places to be at. Sometimes, all the time, maybe.
Sometimes not. Yeah.
And so for us, I think being really clear in knowing the direction, the purpose that we wanted to go, and that when we could see teams working really, really well together, it was because they were all clear on that vision. Whether it be a sport team, whether it be work team, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
I think for us, one of the things that made our work become clearer is seeing missed opportunities, missed possibilities due to frustration or interpersonal issues or lack of communicative skills or problem solving skills or space to co-create together. And with that, you start to see the energy loss. So what was once, like we're right there, you just start chipping away. And so I think the work that we do now is really to try and reharness what that is if there's challenge going on. And if it's already good, it can still be better.
Just make it better and really build high-performing teams. That's really what, our thing is going in and, if it's a great team, how can we make it better? And if, there's some little, glitches in it, how can we improve those pieces? So really looking for the most, like our new tagline, which isn't on the website, but is really to help teams seize possibilities.
Yeah.
Right. So what are all those possibilities that we as people, as organizations can have? Because ultimately organizations are nothing more, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but they're people. They're not they may be brick and mortar structures, but if we can't get the best out of our people and have our people enjoying what they're doing, maybe not every day, but most of the time, we failed, the organization has failed ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really interesting to kind of think about. And you hear this all the time. This wouldn't be the first time that, strategy, culture eats strategy for breakfast and, some of those kinds of things. When you think about the teams or the organizations or businesses that you're working with, like what are those challenges? What's an example of something that you think kind of holds people back or holds businesses back? What would be you're kind of talking a little bit about people and culture, but how does that show up in a business when it's not working, or like the purpose and you're smiling. How does that kind of show up?
Dissatisfaction, being dysfunctional, a lot of narrative being written that might not necessarily be true. If people are uninformed, we write stories. That's kind of how we interact. It's how we process information. And if there's not a lot of information or clarity, people write their own narrative. And sometimes that's in a direction that's not positive, that just starts, again, subtracting away from someone's own confidence and ability, and ultimately what their contribution is to the organization.
Yeah, yeah, it's communication, right? Yeah, that communication and people understanding the importance that their roles play within the organization and how that leads that path towards that vision, that plan. Some don't even have plans, right? That's the other thing. So, how do we get everybody on the same page so they're all at least reading from that same sheet to be working forward?
And is there something that you see that's happening now with a lot of businesses that are missing out? Like, is there more than in the past? Like, I guess I just wonder, since we went through COVID and now a lot of things are online and people are not in person. Today, I had some team time today with my team in person. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're having in-person conversations and, the communication is a little bit better. We don't need to be together 24/7, but, do you notice something more that's happening now where people are feeling disconnected or going off script from kind of what their original intent was with their businesses? Do you think it's happening more, or?
I don't know if it's happening more per se, because what I was going to say was one of the things that I noticed since COVID is that people do crave connection, even though they do want to be able to work from home, which I think is great. I think people can be more productive. It's not necessarily that you need to be sitting at a desk from 9 till 5 doing nothing, but being a physical entity within the space just because. But I think that connection is so important in whatever ways that you as an organization choose to have that, whether that be, having, small times where you get together on a regular basis or retreats. I think it's really just keeping that communication alive is so important within businesses and within relationships. I don't know, Lauren, what do you think?
Oh, I'd agree. But I think there's time for some of those informal spaces, and then there's time for more formal spaces.
Yeah.
I think we've heard quite a bit, in smaller growing organizations, there maybe isn't formal kinds of opportunities for performance improvement. Like we do the once a year performance review may be, and it's pretty loose. And what I see is that people want to be high performers. They want more feedback. So creating some of those channels that happen more frequently versus like the big formal piece, I think would go a really long way to creating more sense of a connection, more openness, versus, again, writing that narrative of like, oh, geez, did I do that right? Did I not do that right? So having informal and formal channels, I think, is important. Yes, thank you. Those expectations, right?
Actually, I was looking at something. This is related to side tangent, real quick.
Great.
It was related to performance in schools, and there was something that came out that said that students' performance is starting to decline. They've noticed this since COVID, but also part of it was around setting expectations that students are not being held to high standards, and so they're just kind of sliding down the track. What are some ways that I know you do a lot with leaders and people that are in the C-suite and things like that. How do you think about leadership as it relates to sort of building that culture within companies? Like, what are the things that you see that have worked for leaders in terms of the ones that are thinking about stepping into that space if they have not thought about or they haven't had the capacity to be a leader, or maybe they've come from a smaller company and they realize, ooh, okay, I do need to think again about our purpose and values and what's the value of what we're doing and how do I communicate? What is something that leaders should be thinking about? Or
I think that leaders need to set and define those terms along with their teams. It's not something that's done in isolation, but I think they also need to live and exhibit those behaviors first. It's going to come from whether you call it the C-suite, the leadership. But in Lauren, the way how Lauren and I think of leadership, yes, we have that C-suite, but everybody within the organization is a leader unto themselves. Like, they all have that potential. So as leaders, how do we step up and ensure that we're living and behaving the way that we want as an organization? And to quote one of our mentors, whom you've had on here before, I think, if you don't define the culture as leadership, it will define itself by default. And that's not necessarily going to be a good thing. So being really clear on your purpose, your vision, your mission, those values, and then how do you put them into practice every single day? What does it look like? What does it look like in performance evaluations? What does it look like on the day-to-day? How are we living that and ensuring that we are fostering and growing that culture that we believe in and that we want to have there? It's great, it's not great actually to have those things up on a wall. Great, you can have them there, but if they're only words, it's useless really, right? So how is it being put into action through every area of the business, even right down to financials, like all those, like enacting purpose throughout the whole business.
I think so. Agreed. But I think you have to think about what kind of leader you want to be, right? Like we are very much like co-leaders. We like co-creation. I don't know that. I guess it depends on what kind of business you're in. The kinds of businesses that we work with tend to be very mission focused, purpose led, like impact driven, and so that sort of like dictatorial style of leadership is like not really how you're going to get the most out of your people. Again, that's not to say you just let people do whatever they want to do, because then we're not focusing the energy. No, it's not a free for all, and
it's a hodgepodge. And
how are we accomplishing things, right? But I think allowing people to fulfill their roles. Again, you've hired these people for their contribution and their expertise. So when they bring ideas to you, are you open to that? Or are you saying, oh, no, I want it to be this way, way, when really that's not your lane, so to speak, right? Like, if you've got great team members and you believe in what they're doing, allow them to lead in those moments, whether it be a meeting or a project or the report. There are so many opportunities for people to be able to develop that confidence, develop those skills, and then you can see what else they can bring to the table.
Well, was there something for you, maybe I'll start with you, Laurissa, was there something like a defining moment for you that kind of shaped how you think about leadership in this way, whether it's related to community? I know you do a lot of kind of community-focused work or, other kinds of things. But was there something that happened in your past that made you kind of come to this realization around, that leadership style?
I think I would probably refer to my mom, actually, and serial entrepreneurs. My parents are, and having multiple businesses. But the one business that I had the opportunity to work with them in, Jeannie knows, the IT company.
We had your mom on our podcast. Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I'm thinking about how modeling leadership, it would be the example that she provided in building an organization, in providing the leadership, but ensuring that she brought in people into the organization with skills and abilities that maybe were more than what she had were definitely more than what she had in the areas that were required, and allowing those people to actually do what you've hired them to do, but being able to create an environment where people felt cared for. And it was a family business, but we had 50 people, so it was more than a family business. So I don't want to say they felt like family, but people felt like they mattered and their contribution mattered. Everybody knew that they were building something greater than themselves. And so I think my model of leadership definitely comes from how she shaped that organization. And then, being able to see that and then go into other organizations and see where it's a little wonky and it's not working that way, it really made me think, wow, that was something. You didn't realize it at the time, but that was something special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about for you, Lauren? Was there something that you witnessed or experienced in the past that sort of influenced your, perception about leadership or how you wanted to show up as a leader?
I would say a couple of things. I, like Laurissa, grew up in family businesses, and my folks did treat their staff like family. Again, to the limit, to a point. There are things where in a real family business, you don't get to fire the cousins and things. And we're not suggesting that. Don't do that. And don't call your team your family, because for some, you start to cross a line. So team, I would encourage use that sort of language. But seeing when my parents would support a person who maybe needed a bit more that month, there was something going on, there were issues with family, and seeing those conversations happen in a way full of care, but also with limits, right? There was, again, expectations, this time frame, we're going to revisit it in this time frame. But the other thing that I think has shaped my view on leadership is that I've been extremely privileged to be invested in by leaders. I've had some really great mentors that saw a little something in me, an edge, or whatever, sometimes an intensity, whatever. I love to win.
Yeah.
But they took the time to see that, to know that I had some raw ability, and gave me that time. So I think Laurissa and I take a lot of time to try to give back with lots of mentorship opportunities, whether it be formal or informal, and bring a lot of that to the way that we advise and coach and facilitate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And nurture.
Yeah.
One of her values.
Yeah.
One of my core values.
Yeah, I love it. Well, kind of thinking about that nurturing and, so I appreciate you guys sharing about kind of some of the influences that brought you to this moment of how you like to think about leadership for yourself. So I know that purpose and values is really instrumental in your work. And I know you have done this with Onside, and you have done this with many other clients. How do you, get people back on track, or how do you help clients clarify, especially when a business has grown too fast or gotten off track or lost focus? How do you help clients kind of come back to the center so that they can use that energy more wisely, like you're saying, instead of popping off and being the hodgepodge? And what are some ways that you guys do that?
We got to have some chats. Honestly, it's a reflective process. Mm-hmm. And sometimes talking about the stuff that isn't working, like what is the stuff that's driving you crazy right now? Like what are those projects or clients that are like so down energy where the team is just like, don't
sucking me dry.
Yeah. You know, but we got to do it because the money, whatever. And I understand that at times, yes, we got to take the project because we got to have the cash flow. However, we can't always just take the project because we need the cash flow. We need to be a bit more intentional about that. But that self-reflection about what is not working, what is really dragging us down, what's the antidote to that? Typically, it's, oh yeah, remember when we were
feeling
focused
good
on this? What were we doing then? You know? Because at times when things are becoming more successful and you're driving it, you just start saying yes. And then at some point, you go, oh no.
I said yes to one too many things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay to try those things that might be not exactly what you do or might be a little bit different to how you do it. But was that a growth moment or was that a learning moment to get us more focused on what we're going to do?
Yeah. And how do you guys? So that's a really important, I think, key insight because it's not necessarily a particular action item or something like that, but it's getting more core, I would say, to it. And that reflective piece is super important because if you don't, you just kind of snowball out into doing way too many things or getting off focus. You guys work together. You guys are co-founders. You're like good partners, all that kind of stuff. How do you navigate operating as co-founders? You mentioned a co-collaboration kind of model. How do you navigate that? And why did you choose that kind of model? Maybe Laurissa, do you want to?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it was a choice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I was going to say it wasn't even something that we thought about really. I mean, we came into each other's lives quite a few years ago now. It was, serendipitous, I guess, if you want to say that. And I'm honestly, it was never a conversation about do we like co-create? Is there a collaboration? I think we work so well together. Usually we're talking like for each other. Even with making decisions for like the company, there's never been an issue ever with.
Yeah, I feel
don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, I know it sounds like a really cheesy thing, like, oh yeah, we just like love each other, but we do. Like we talk all the time, about being work wives and life partners and like
sharing the same brain.
Thank you. Exactly. But for us, it just works. Like we both have different perspective. Yes. We definitely don't have the same. Yes, thank you. Don't have the same personality, and we don't always see things the same way. But we seem to never be so divergent on what we're talking about.
Yeah,
like we might disagree, but have we ever had like a disagreement?
No, never.
Not.
But we temper one another.
Yeah. Yes.
We temper one another, which is really, it's phenomenal, right?
Like an example, a very practical example.
Yeah. What's a practical example? How do you make that work?
So Laurissa wants to write a shitagram.
Or
like we gotta like send this communication, and
No,
Laurissa,
you want to, not me.
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying usually I have to like add more feeling language to things.
She does. She does.
Yes. Larissa's very direct. I will kind of soften some of these things as an example. But I think when we, again, have we had a real disagreement? No, we just have a discussion. Like we just discuss something until we get to an end and we both feel comfortable. I would say that's how it goes. I don't think either one of us has ever pushed the other to say, we're doing this when the other person was like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Do you think that's a function of, and I know you focus on purpose and values and all, do you think that's a function that at the core of when you were starting DLM, which you can say what DLM stands for, but when you were starting that you kind of like in the beginning really agreed like your core values and principles or like, or maybe it was partially innate, like since you've known each other for a while. But
I think some of it was innate. I think our values and behaviors and whatnot, they have evolved. I mean, it's taken us a few years, like even just up until last year when we were working with some of your groups, we were still refining those. I mean, we had the values, they were there, but how we defined them, right up until last year. So I think a lot of it, for me at least, there's a comfort with Lauren, and I don't mean to take that for granted. There's nothing for granted.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've worked in a lot of different environments where we know when it feels good to work with people, when it doesn't feel good to work with people, and it's like a glove.
Yeah.
But we were out to dinner with our husbands the other night, and two of us sitting on one side, two big guys sitting on the other side of the table. And when we left, and I was going on like having a little whatever with my husband afterwards, not about that, but something else. And my husband was like, why are you even bothering? Like, the energy that you and Lauren have together is so palpable. Like, you guys, and this is what we hear from clients.
Yes. Yeah.
This is what we hear like from clients is like when we come together in person in a room or whatever, there's this sort of like, we haven't practiced anything, but there's this beautiful balance. I mean, I'm much older than Lauren.
You would never know it, would you, people?
But we bring different experiences because of our life experiences. But we bring different things, I think, that complement one another, and that, you know, we learn from one another. And again, I'll just say it, like, there's just so much respect that I have for her. And I couldn't imagine, and I wouldn't work with anyone else. However, I will say this, because this year, for the first year, we brought other people into our business, which we had said we would never do because we just, you know.
Because we're obsessed with each other.
Got it.
Totally.
Got it.
Like, we had our groove, right?
Yeah.
Like we knew our groove and that was it. But we did it. And I think the reason why it's working is because we're so sure of how we work together and the direction that we want to move in. And this year's been a bit of an experiment, right? Like with me being so far away and we're not able to do as many in person, or me being able to say, I'm okay with not being there. And Lauren being okay to be okay with going in and doing something on her own. Because normally, like, we're a package, right?
Package deal.
I still don't love doing it, but, you know.
You can manage.
But you know,
we'll do it.
But you know I'm there in spirit.
Of course.
Yeah, package deal. Okay, so real quick for the audience, because I don't think that I said this at the top of the show. What does DLM stand for? Oh,
Do the history. Well, okay. So just to be clear,
has it changed?
The name, no.
Okay.
But like, the name is DLM. Our values also happen to start with DLM.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And so the values, it's also Larissa's initials.
Yeah, that's what. Okay.
That's like the original name of
When I was feeling pressured and needed.
Yeah, so just needed to get
DLM.
a business number. But our values are dream, learn, and manifest. And so, I mean, you could even look at that as sort of the base of how we support organizations is like, if you can't imagine or have vision, we've got to do some work. There's usually something we need to develop or improve or do differently to help us start to achieve that new vision. So there's the learn part. We do lots of team training. We do lots of entrepreneur startup stuff. We've loved working with the startup incubator gals. And then manifest is, you know, let's bring it to life. And yes, I understand we're going to, you know, everyone has a bit of a different process with manifestation, but it does start with that visioning. So what are those conditions we have to create to actually bring the thing to life? Okay, we need more human capacity. Like, we literally can't do what we need to do to accomplish our vision with 3 people. We need 6. Okay, how do we get to 6 people then? We can figure that out. I feel like sometimes when we talk about this stuff, it's so simple. Like, it's not complicated. It just takes that clarity and that commitment to just keep rolling with it, to keep learning.
Yeah, and the learn is the massive piece. I was just going to hop in just on the learn piece. Yes, we go in and, you know, and we are hopefully helping people learn, but we take so much from that as well. Like, the learn goes both ways. And I was on a call earlier today, and I had said to them, you know, my goal when I go into organizations is to hopefully not be needed after some period of time. I don't want to have to be needed. So being able to help them learn skills that are going to make their business sustainable, resilient, whatever the word is that is, en vogue at the time, so that we can step away and know that they will be successful. It's not about us needing to be a crutch for them constantly. So that learn piece is massive, right? Because that's really building that. Yes, dreaming, figure out what those possibilities are, but really, how can we really ensure that you are going to be successful with this? And that's to give you the tools that we know. And if we don't have them, then we bring in other people.
Yeah. Well, we at Onside and Start Now have definitely learned a lot with having you guys help us with many cohorts and folks who've come through our programming who've all loved working with you together or individually. And that's been super great. Kind of thinking about, women's entrepreneurship. And I know you work with all kinds of companies, early stage, those kinds of things. Like what are some of the things that you think women entrepreneurs are doing really great at right now? And then what are the things that are maybe holding women entrepreneurs back, whether it's a barrier or mindset or, I'm just trying to, you've worked with us quite a bit. You've got to experience some of the folks going through our programs, but also you've also worked with so many others, helping them to dream, learn, and manifest. So, what are you kind of observing in women's entrepreneurship right now? Ooh, who wants to take it? Lots of thoughts. Lots of thoughts. No. Just like, I don't know. It's kind of like Jane. It's like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to think about, and we're in a very interesting kind of moment now as well. So lots of things are happening and changing. But just wondering if you thought about it.
Things I've observed, and if I'm thinking with some of the women we've worked with in our cohorts with you, I think these women are really good at identifying gaps that they're seeing with their communities. Like almost every single entrepreneur that has come through that program is a social entrepreneur, meaning they are looking to solve social problems, environmental problems, economical kind of problems with their business, like baked in. And so they're identifying that, I think, quite clearly. They might be trying to figure out what the product or service is to address that gap or that gap they're seeing in their own community. Barrier, analysis paralysis.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say valuing themselves.
Oh, interesting.
That's the other one.
Okay.
That's a big one.
That was the number
Especially
two.
with a lot of we talked a lot about that in the groups that we did with Onside.
So analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that real quick?
What I mean by that is like they're looking at the problem and they see it. But there's sometimes this fear of like actually going to try and talk to the market or like the kinds of clients they want to serve. Lots of reasons. Oh, I'm nervous. They're going to don't understand what I'm trying to offer, or they're going to say no, or I don't know how do I even have those conversations? And so it's like the focus becomes, I got to set up my Instagram page. I got to like set up this. And to me, those are like distractions or busy work that you do versus getting out there in front of people and really trying to figure out what that market is, who that market is, and how you're going to close that gap you're seeing in community. So I guess the antidote to that, and I've never had, well, maybe you have poor conversations sometimes or it doesn't go the way you want, but more conversations has never led us to less business. It's always led us to clarity on, okay, hey, no, we shouldn't do this. We should do that, because that's what's missing out of the process that people currently utilize. So go have those conversations. And you're going to bungle it, but that's part of it, right? You start to pick up on or validate that gap you're seeing, or you prove yourself wrong, right? Okay, well, I got to look at something different. But you got to go have those conversations. And I think we've seen lots of resistance as a theme to actually getting out there or knowing where to go network. But I know like, you folks have offered lots of events. There's always local stuff going on with like chambers of commerce and things. So just
Making those connections.
Yeah.
Making those
Okay.
connections.
So analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
And what were you saying? You were saying.
I think it probably ties into that in some ways. I was saying valuing themselves. So one of the things I think part of valuing themselves in that regard could be having the confidence to actually be able to get out in front of people to ask those questions or fall and fail, pick yourself back up. But oftentimes when we're talking to a lot of the entrepreneurs, what we're talking about in valuing themselves is valuing what they bring to the picture and that they need to pay themselves. Because oftentimes women will, we're just going to say women because these are who we're talking about. They put themselves last when it comes to their businesses. If they do have employees, they pay everybody else. I can, attest to that when I had one of my companies, making sure the lights were on and everybody else got paid, but, didn't pay myself. And so, I often say, if you're not going to pay yourself, then have a nice hobby. It's a hobby. It's not a business. So it's not about whether you can pay yourself this fantastic salary, but you need to start to take that into account of I'm going to make sure I put this much aside for me, for this each month, so that you actually value what you are contributing and bringing to the business as well, and actually building a business. And oftentimes when we say that, it's almost like you're trying to give them, you have to give them permission to do it. They're shocked when you tell them to pay themselves or to value.
To pay themselves, and also to get into the market, you don't have to be the cheapest option.
Yes, that's the other thing.
That's the other thing. I mean, my goodness, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. I don't even have more words for it because you just don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And sometimes the thing that you think is an outrageous price is not. You need to think about the lifestyle you want to have. You need to think about how am I going to grow this business? So what do I look like against competitors in the market? But what's the value that I offer? Yeah. You don't have to, I'm just thinking of one of our partners who, was charging what I thought was a ridiculously low, hourly rate.
Yeah. And we actually had to pull her rate. Well, we bumped her rate up, and she was just so surprised. Mm-hmm. And the value that she brings to our team, to her work, is we couldn't do it.
No, we don't
want to do it.
Don't want to and couldn't. Both of those women actually,
both of them
that have contributed and helped us take things to the next level.
Yeah. We've run a couple of pricing workshops, and we're doing a bunch of stuff with sales and things like that. And I would say that pricing products or services appropriately and not leaving money on the table, this has come up quite a bit. And, always once if you lower your price or you start too low, it's really hard to raise the price. And so it's a conversation and this valuing yourself and valuing what you're offering and things like that. I've heard that come up repeatedly. And I definitely do think that many women who are just starting their businesses are the confidence, the right price so that they can get paid and make money. And, traditionally women do a lot of unpaid work, kids, family, cooking, whatever the things are. And so there is this tendency to say, well, it's okay if I don't get paid. We have definitely seen that. So, yeah.
Well, and we've even, over 4 years or 5 years, how long has it been? Forever.
A lifetime.
We've had to, we always debrief after every project that we do. And I think this is part of what helps us, stay focused on the work that we want to do, because we evaluate our clients.
We have a color system.
Mm-hmm. So any of our clients, just so you know, you've been rated. But it helps us stay more grounded in what we're doing. But we also have to be realistic, post-mortem on the project. Did we actually quote this properly?
Yeah. Because early on, we were not.
We
thought we were, but we were not. The amount of effort and time that was actually going into projects that you don't think about, you're just doing.
Yes, but we did have to start accounting much more accurately for the pre and post work that we do. That isn't just hey, we went in, we did the training, or we facilitated this. And And even then, I remember when we started adding it, we ourselves were a bit, we were like, even with all the things we just said, we were still.
You're like, oh, I don't know if I can actually.
Can we like add thousands of dollars to this project? And the answer is yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
And now we are not ashamed. I was running a group the other night, and I said that to them: do not be ashamed to ask for what you are worth.
Well, I think part of what has helped us with the confidence of that is, again, we've done this quite a few times now because we've had to go back and forth on proposals and like budgets and things. I think we've actually educated clients. We've had a few come back to us after we've done a proposal process and they go, we didn't actually realize how much work we were asking for. And when you break it down, oh, that's all. That's not just like 2 days work, is it? It's like, no, it's like 7.
You're like, I'm delivering over 1 or 2 days, but it takes 4 days of prep. Or,
all this background, data consolidation, background review, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, because I would say that's another piece that we take personally and we do well, as we've heard from clients, is that we really try to get to know the client before we
jump in,
start the stuff. Because we want to know. Because inevitably something comes up. That'll always happen. But we want to be like as prepared as possible to be as realistic as possible to deliver the best service.
And Laurissa, what's something that maybe like you've observed this, you've definitely talked to folks in our programs about, kind of overcoming, their pricing scaredness or valuing themselves. When have you, it sounds like you've worked with people, like when have you seen it, like the light bulb goes on, or like what could people do to make that shift, in their, I'm not sure if it's in their business or in their own hearts, to go from, oh, I'm not so sure, I don't know if I can charge an extra $50, $100,000, whatever the number is. How do you, what's something someone could do to start to make that shift?
I think I would have them say to themselves or ask themselves, if they had somebody in that role that they're doing, would they not pay them? Like, what would they pay somebody else to do that? And why aren't they worth that? Right? I mean, that would be the simplest thing, I think. That's not simple, right? It's uncomfortable. And, and thinking about, oh my gosh, what if somebody says no and I don't get that project? Well, then you don't get that project. And that wasn't the right client for you. And that's how we've started to look at things, is there isn't that alignment that was required. And, and sometimes we have clients that we absolutely want to work with and we know they can't afford us. And then we make concessions, if you want to say,
conscious
adjustments. Because we know that it's something that's important to us, but it's something that's important to them that we want to help them bring to fruition. So I think there are times when you can play with it, but having a set price is so important. And that might mean going out and looking at what competitors are charging and, and figuring out where your service fits in there. But you'll never know unless you actually try, unless you give it a go. Like, what is that rate going to be? And there were some fabulous ladies in the last program that we just ran. And it was, again, I said it was like giving them permission. Like once we told them, they were like, I'm allowed to do that? I'm allowed to charge? Yes, you're allowed to charge that. And you know what? Like, because when I buy something, I'm not buying the cheapest of anything.
No. I don't do any research into products, period. I just call Laurissa. She's already done all the spreadsheet.
But and I'm not saying you need to be the most expensive either. I'm not saying that. But people do associate value with price. Sometimes, oftentimes, right? So if you're the cheapest one on the road, or whatever, however you want to do that analogy, they may be asking themselves, well, what am I getting for this? Or what am I not getting for this? So positioning yourself in the place where you've got a product or a service that is well worth it is so important.
Yeah.
I know you want to say something.
Okay. No, I'm just, yes, this is yes.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that we are most passionate about when it comes to working with like solopreneurs. We don't see this when we go into like corporate organizations so much.
No, not so much.
Not so much, but especially with like solopreneurs, like getting them with a steady foot on the ground.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm just going to make a quick little plug because we'll be doing some work with you guys next month in November, looking at helping businesses grow sustainably, and then also looking in the next year around positioning. So folks who need help with that to get themselves positioned properly for the new year, we'll be doing some of that. But what are some changing gears just a little bit there?
For sure.
In your own business and your own kind of like day to day, like what are some things that you guys like, tools or services or things that you guys are using right now that you feel like are helping your business be more are you guys like using AI every day, or like are you using like, I don't know, like Monday, or like, I don't know, maybe you're not using any of those things. What are there things that you guys do or that your tools or things like that you're using to help you be more efficient and run your business the way that you want it to be run? Not including QuickBooks. QuickBooks.
No. I was just thinking because of the fact that we are distant from one another, like that we are now both remote from each other, and we don't have that same connection on a regular basis, or can't say, hey, let's meet up. Even though we did it, like I could be in my house in Halifax and you would be in Dartmouth. And two of the tools that I think we use a lot. WhatsApp. We are on that all the time, like with one another, like just even if we're like running a workshop, while we're running the workshop, we're on WhatsApp back and forth to one another, like maybe changing the playbook as we're going.
Yeah. Change slide number 5.
Or we're like, oh, this is not going how we thought it was going to go, right?
Like, we got to pivot.
And so we'll be like, doing that. And then the other one, because we've got these two wonderful, fantastic women that are collaborating or contributing to our business. Slack is a huge one that we've been using. We finally figured out the huddles.
Yes.
And but really taking advantage of all of the harnessing the power of Slack and using it for more than just a communication tool. So that's been a really big piece. And then we've been playing around with a few other tools like Miro, and you love your Canva.
Yes. Bless margin Canva, because I just mess around in Canva. But Miro for like team stuff, because we tried it. Typically we do lots of things on like pen and paper and stickies, but now with so much remote work, we have found it's pretty seamless that way, and people can kind of contribute where they want, or they can see the process. Like a lot of visual learners appreciate those kinds of tools. I think one that we'll be using in future and investing in is an owl.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I want one of those. Fancy kind of.
Yeah. I want one of those.
You can even hear it in my language. I'm not the techie person. We're not the techie people. I think part of why people like to call us is because we're high touch, but you heard me snort when you said AI. And a lot of people.
This year?
Yeah, but it was shit.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, we do a lot of qualitative data collection, and bless Alex, one of our friends, other Alex, haven't met her yet. She's a PhD in qualitative data analysis, and we just are finishing like a year-long, extremely massive project. We do a lot of community engagement, and I think there's been some flippant comments from people saying, well, you just chuck all that information into the AI. First of all, this is like private company information. I'm not pumping that into ChatGPT. Second of all, when we've done it on a lower scale, the quality of the information currently that comes out of that data set. So for us, currently, it's not the most useful. I'm sure others have found really great ways
to use it. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
We're still waiting for that.
Okay. Well, I think with the way that you work, as you explained, kind of like high touch community engagement and things like that. And, we ran an AI skills lab with a group called Camp Tech and the Forum this summer. And so, part of that is thinking about, well, when do you want to use AI? When is it useful to you? What does your business, just because it's out there does not, it's a tool. It does not mean that you have to use it. It's finding the use cases that are appropriate and meaningful to you that advance, the work that you're doing. Are there tools, since you mentioned you are obviously Zoom, but are there things that you do Are there things that you do to kind of keep yourself grounded and aligned, like in your work, or do you have some little rituals or things that you do between each other, or things like how do you kind of say like grounded in your work and your grounded in your purpose maybe?
Well, I just texted you in the car about it, right?
That's right. Yeah. Every year we, like Laurissa and I, take a couple days. And I mean, again, a lot of the practices that we continue on with, we've learned from awesome mentors, but taking space and time outside of your own office, outside of where you typically do business, I think is really important. So we annually, Larissa's like, we should be doing our annual planning. So yeah, we're going to be chatting in the next few weeks about like, what do we want our next year to look like? What kinds of projects do we want to be going after? Do we still want to be doing all the stuff? Very specific.
Very specific. Yeah. The types of clients we want, like, we figure out the dollar figures that we're looking to bring in, the number of love clients that we're going to also have on our roster.
Did you say love clients?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That's a Dorothy Spence term. Thank you for
Dorothy
that.
Spence term. Okay, love clients. Is that like the clients that you love, or that you're like doing
those are the
special
ones
thing with, or
when we're maybe like that the work would be very impactful, but the price tag is just a bit out of reach.
Okay.
That's a practice that we've brought into continued on in our business. That was set before us.
As a not-for-profit organization, I appreciate all the love that is given. As like talking to other people, like we've got special things. I'm like, I got to get all the not-for-profit discounts here. Like, ding, 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 So I definitely know from not-for-profit sectors and social enterprises and things like that are, especially in the trying to make all the ends meet, probably really appreciate the being a love client. So that's awesome. What else do you do like on a personal level to kind of recharge? Do you like go into the woods? Yeah. Do you walk?
She's a big outdoorsy
beach,
person.
Ocean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Go. The ocean will take everything you can give her.
Okay.
So if there is some like rough feelings going on, you just go to the Atlantic.
And jump in.
And yes, I do. Or just go sit, whatever. But woods, look at the birds, listen to the animals, touch the grass.
Okay.
With your binoculars.
I got to get little birding binoculars. If anyone has a recommendation.
The amount of times this summer she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what was in my backyard. Taking pictures and sending them to me. She
New
was
hobby.
In nature.
Yeah. Okay.
In nature.
And Laurissa, how about you? What's your what do you do to like recharge?
Yeah, I would say, well, for me, it's movement. Mm-hmm. So that I, teach fitness and all those types of things, but it's physically like doing a practice of movement. So for me, that happens to be like eccentrics and teaching that to others and training instructors. That just fills my soul, basically. But then also, and it's sort of tied in with that, it's music. Just, if I feel like I'm getting a little, like sometimes I'll do this and Lauren will know that means there's like this ball
tense
here.
Or something.
Tense. This is where I carry it, right? I just need music to be able to just sort of still me, calm me. And I might be moving to the music. I might just be sitting, whatever it happens to be. So those types of things really just, they bring me like peace and allow me to come sort of like into present. I'll just add one thing just with both of us. When we were deciding to come together with our company. You don't know what I'm going to say.
I know. I'm like, riveted.
Do tell.
When we were deciding to, come together with our company, we one of the things that we made a conscious decision on was how much time do we want to work? And so we decided that, so this is part of our like chilling out and taking our time, is that we basically have the summer, what do we call it? The summer of us.
Yep.
Like girl summer.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like
hot girl summer, yeah.
Hot girl summer every summer.
I love it.
So we like build our year. You're included, don't worry.
Thank you.
We build our year. We sort of taper our year because of the way how our client cycles work, that we know we can have a summer of just doing what fills us. So we are not heavy into projects. We are not looking for clients over the summer. We are not doing those kind of things. And then when the school year rolls back around, we're ready to get back into it. But we've had that chance to recharge and, spend more time with our families, travel, do whatever it happens to be. And I think that was a big conscious choice that we made that makes a huge difference in how we function throughout the time that we are with clients.
Yeah. I think you guys mentioned something of this. You guys inspired me. So this year we kind of like took that into consideration. We learned a lot of like when people want to do training and courses and do whatever. August, 100% no.
Don't bother.
Don't go after Canada Day.
Yeah. In fact,
July 4th.
with our AI skills workshop, I said, we need to wrap this up before Canada Day. I was like, no one is coming after that. Just forget. And they were like, okay, we'll just squeeze things in. I was like, 100%, we have to get that done. And then, for us, like, I think we kind of, we don't take the summer off, but we kind of like change our programming, slow it down a little bit, more time for reflection, maybe doing some surveys, getting information back so that it's come in the fall. We can have our mind straight and jump into it. So, yeah. I probably have like one or two last questions. One is around kind of the same idea. So if you're a newish woman entrepreneur who's out there, who's maybe struggling with like finding that purpose and alignment, and maybe they don't have time for hot girl summer, even if they really want one because they're like hustling or whatever. They're not there yet. They're not there yet. Like, what are some things, or one or two things that they could do to try to kind of get that alignment, or that like sense, like come back to that sense of purpose and alignment? Like, what would you, if you have clients that are like lost it or like losing it or whatever, what's something that you would kind of advise when your clients?
Girlfriend, get the journal out. or some people think about more mentally, but I think that the process of actually physically writing things can start that manifestation process, or that process of letting go. But like, what is coming up? What is so disappointing? What is feeling like it's in the way? Even if it's a venting process.
Yeah. We love to do that. We do that all the time together.
Venting?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like our husbands are like, because
what
they're
is
always
happening
around us, and we're like, and then we're like, But
just let them be.
Yeah. And then we're good.
And then it's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say get the journal out. Like, start just documenting a couple of things, because you might start to see some patterns, right? Like, I know when we were making the choice or just fulfilling the manifestation that was happening, it was partly to let go of certain habits or behaviors or things that were not feeling good anymore. So what is going to feel better? What can I offer? That helped me get my head back on straight. And to be clear, it took me 3 years to figure out what my personal values were. Yeah. I had 2, couldn't figure out what the third one was. I always knew fun. That's a big one.
That's a good one.
But that's a big one that comes back for us.
I like that.
When we start having the feeling, it's like, well, was there any fun in this project? Yeah. No? Okay, well, we're not going to try to recreate that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, having a sense of what are my core values? Because if those are the things that I need, then let me find my journey and work towards bringing that in my work, since we do spend so much time in work.
And I think in the work, but also in your play, know what your play is. Because a lot of times, and I know starting a business is hard, and like you're 130% into it, and you're just go, and you lose yourself. So I think, our values fit both personal and professional, right? So finding, that journaling and all of those pieces that are so important, but keeping whatever keeps your light alive, whatever that passion was or is. And if you don't know what it is, you better find something. But most people have something, and they may have let it go because they're, eye on the prize or whatever it is. Don't lose that, because you're losing yourself, really, right? And if you don't have that, it's really hard to keep going forward, and even to recenter yourself towards why you even started that business and whatnot.
Okay. Well, I got a little off track in my own life, and I've come back to a hobby that I had like given up for like probably 4 or 5 years. COVID happened and all kinds of things. And so this year or last year, I was like, I got to like get back into it. And I started going to my pottery classes again.
Awesome. You told us. That's so great.
So I've been doing it for forever. I can build like bowls and pots and mugs and like, teapots and everything. And I just kind of let it slide. and I got back into it, and I love it because when I'm doing it, I'm only doing that thing. Like, I can't be doing it. My hands are in the clay. I'm like, the wheel is spinning. I'm either centered or I'm not.
Right.
So, so finding the things.
Yes.
You got to find the things. So I love it. Okay. Trick question. Maybe not trick question.
I hope it's the question I think it is.
Oh, what question? What question? Okay, now.
You go.
Okay, I was like, oh no, I got pressure. I got question pressure. I was just gonna ask, like, what are you reading? Or what's a book or a tool or resource that is like that you're loving right now?
I'll let Lauren answer this.
Okay.
We already talked about this last night. We weren't sure if we could talk about it.
Okay.
But this is what
Is
happens
it appropriate?
when you call. No, it's not
okay.
appropriate.
Well, it is appropriate for us.
It's appropriate. This is what happens when you call Lauren and Laurissa. Been big on the smut.
Oh,
Been read like close to 40 novels this summer of like various degrees of like romantasy, dark romance.
But all fantasy.
romantasy.
Romantasy.
You know?
Schmuttasy. Is that a genre?
Yeah, but
You just made it when you just made it.
I love that.
Okay.
Because again, back to the fun. I mean, I think there's a lot of seriousness going on all the time and everything feels high pressure. And sometimes you just need
Fun.
a little escape.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
If you need recommendations, ladies, just fill our inbox. Got a lot.
Maybe not for today at this exact moment, but okay. Well, then if people would like to connect with DLM or you guys, how can people learn more about what you're doing and what you're about and maybe get some book recommendations?
For sure. Well, we have a website and we are dlm.coach, COACH, because we do not think of ourselves as consultants. We are rather coaches that work with you and collaboratively. And then if you want to email us, it is hello@dlm.coach.
Okay. That's where you can get the book recommendations, everybody.
Totally.
Book
Maybe
recommendations.
we'll just have a book list on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Instagrams or anything or social medias?
Yeah, we have those.
Yeah.
You can find us on LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn and we also are on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for a very illuminating and enjoyable podcast episode today. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you want to learn more about Onside and what we have going on at the Start Now Incubator, you can come to our website, which is onsidenow.ca. We would love for you to like and subscribe to the podcast and check us out at Instagram, which is at Onside Now. And we also have one for Start Now Incubator, which is at Start Now Incubator on Instagram and LinkedIn and all the things. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.